played against, but he obviously was victorious. So
Yeah, just a few things to remind everyone about this event. So we've been doing um pod system. We have 4 different pods of 6 players.
yep,
We are playing 5 rounds of Swiss in the pods, and this is Pod D right now.
it is
that
Pod
we're
D.
watching. Yep.
That's correct. So real quick here, Andrew Tenjum finding probably his best one drop, I'd say, against Jaskai control. Aether Vial is super important. George has a bunch of counter spells in his deck. Um, So it just nice for him to get around things like these mana leak he has. He has a few logic knots, cryptic commands, things like that.
And players do have access to archetypes at this point. They
Yes.
don't know what the exact decks look like. We'll be giving those to players after round 5, and we'll also be showing them through a Twitch extension, so you'll be able to see those on screen as well. Why 55-minute rounds? It's just a strategy. So you can't really have draws in a pod system, so we're giving players an extra 5 minutes to try to prevent draws. We also, if players do go to time, they get an additional 5 turns, and then after those 5 turns, you will get it'll go to sudden death, which is like first to damage another player, or for the life total change.
Yeah. Yep. So Andrew going to get his Mausoleum Wanderer in. Mausoleum Wanderer was kind of a powerhouse card in Standard for a little while there too.
Which card?
The Mausoleum Wanderer. The Spirit's deck was good. And
Yeah.
then you had the Honorary Spirit Archangel Avacyn.
Yeah. Yeah.
That card was great.
Yeah. Avacyn was a very, very good card.
All right, so George went ahead and...
Casted many of them.
yeah, they were great.
You ever casted one for 4?
What?
Yeah, I've casted
Oh,
Avacyn
with
for
the
4. With
the Ravager, the guy, the green
the
guy?
flip Dustwatch Recruiter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's called something Ravager.
Yeah, that was always good.
Yeah, I did that.
So, for the most part, not too much pressure out of Andrew at this point.
Yeah, he's going to need to start ramping into some stuff here. Now, does Andrew have any... he's got a Parageist of St. Traft in his deck, actually, in his main deck. I was seeing if there was any... that spot where the Geist is in is sometimes Thalia as well. I was just seeing kind of where we landed on that.
And George has a Settle and a Supreme Verdict that can answer those cards.
One of each, huh?
Yep.
Yep, sure is.
3 to Fairy. How many copies of Jace? 0.
Speak of the devil.
Jace.
There's the Geist of St. Traft. So George going to read Mausoleum Wanderer here to get the text on that. It's going to make him pay 1 extra if Andrew decides to sacrifice the Mausoleum Wanderer here. So he does. George going to untap. George needs Supreme Verdict like right now at this point.
Yeah. He's probably got a turn or two, but with the threat of Queller protecting this.
Yeah, and Andrew also has his Aether Vial. He didn't have anything there, which is good news for George.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure he'll deploy much at this point.
Yeah, I think Andrew's going to kind of play it safe, and if he gets Wrath, he's probably got a Collected Company. And
right. This is a card that will win the game by itself.
All right, so going down to 14 for George. Yeah, I don't know. George is going to have some troubles here if he doesn't find, obviously, one of his sweeper type effects. I thought this matchup was really bad for Bant Spirits, but this resolving is just giant.
Well, this is what you want against the deck. Like if you play the cards you want to draw against a matchup, that's usually
this is the one. Yep. George gonna take a draw step here. He's got an Electrolyze in hand. I think a land and a Snapcaster Mage is other cards.
Yep, and Snap can block the Geist.
Yeah. Yeah, and ambushing Snapcaster is like one of the ways I've probably killed 100 Geist of St. Traft with Snapcaster Mage in my life. So Andrew going to activate this Aether Vial here.
So Drogskull Captain.
Yeah, we're in a lot of trouble now. George is in lots of trouble.
I don't think we... I don't know. Letting an untap happen there I think is risky. I think Snap Helix on the Captain is probably right.
Going to try and get it now? Get super greedy with it?
I think you need to.
Yeah, in order to win the game, you think you have to do this here?
The concern is like another Drogskull Captain.
Yeah.
Right? Because then you just get like just demolished.
Yeah, you're getting blown out. Looks like Andrew might have a Queller. He was kind of digging for it there.
Queller's tricky because, like, how much do you want to play around Supreme Verdict?
Sure.
How much are you willing to let things happen?
Yeah, this is tough. George does have that. I think it's a mountain there. It might be a plains. I can't tell what that third land is. The foiling makes it difficult for me to read. What did he target there? Let's see. Let's see. Unless it hasn't resolved yet. Let's see. Yeah, George shaking his head. I think he might have tapped wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he tapped his red source.
Yep. You know what's great about Magic Arena? It usually wouldn't let this happen
It
to you.
auto taps. That's true. That's true.
So George.
Unless you had a colorless land, then it's like I'm tapping that.
Yes,
boy.
I'm tapping that a million times. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see George shaking his head. Mistakes happen.
Yeah.
It's just important to collect yourself.
Oh.
And try not to.
Is that what I thought it was?
And he has outs to.
No, it's not.
Whoa.
He's got a supreme. He drew a supreme verdict.
Did he?
Oh,
Well,
yeah, I'm pretty sure.
He's shaking his head. I'm just the
Yeah,
unluckiest.
it's important to draw a supreme verdict after you.
All right. Well, you probably don't want to tap the field. You want to tap the field of runes, probably, right? Like,
yeah.
You don't need that color.
I thought it was a snap. I could be wrong though. Yeah,
it's looking like
looks
it.
like we're digging.
I don't. If he's like, I drew out of my mistake.
I am very happy with myself.
We got another Queller is the problem.
Yeah, another Queller is death.
All right.
I wonder if. Let's see. All right. So Andrew fetching down now.
Probably gonna see a Coco.
Yeah, I would assume there's a collected company in his future here.
We'll see. Not sure what's in his hand, but I got a chance to spend quite a bit of time with Andrew, Joe, and Matt yesterday, along with a lot of the other players. But learned a lot about those three in particular, and I hear from Joe and Matt that Andrew is a very lucky man.
Oh yeah.
Just constant.
Yeah, Andrew's
Constantly
super
very
lucky.
person.
Yeah, Andrew's super lucky.
So I don't expect a brick here.
No, looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Yeah, there's a
Looks
Geist. Yeah, it looks like
Geist with Spirit. Whew, that's a hit.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That's the game.
George going to pack him up here. So Andrew Tenjum going to win game number 1 here. I don't know. I thought for sure George was going to win game number 1 in a landslide, but
Geist, man.
Geist was
showing some work.
Geist was pretty bonkers there. So as we look at the sideboards here, for Andrew, well, this is an interesting sideboard. He has a Disdainful Stroke, a couple Knight of Autumn, a couple Reflector Mage, a couple Rest in Peace, a couple Surgical, a couple Thalia, a Unified Will, and 3 Stony Silence. So for Andrew, I think this Disdainful Stroke is probably fine. Thalias and the Unified Wills are probably great too.
Yep.
I don't know what I'm really removing. Probably the Phantasmal Images aren't excellent here. Other than that, I mean, his deck's like pretty. He's got 4 Path Exiles as well. It can kind of get trimmed down a little bit.
Yeah. I almost wonder if you just cut all the paths.
Okay.
It's like.
But here's my problem with Path Exile getting removed fully. A lot of these decks have like Baneslayer Angel and Lyra Dawnbringer.
That's true.
And those are just unbeatable bombs if you can't.
And I guess
them.
you don't want to play your Reflector Mage.
No.
I mean, you could bring in Reflector Mages instead of paths.
No, I don't think so.
But
I think you want to be as lean as possible. So I think the path.
that's possible. Yeah, I can get behind that.
What do you got for George?
I just don't want him to be dead cards. But yeah, on George's side, we've got 3 Rest in Peace, 2 Stonies. So kind of what we were talking about earlier with all the white sideboard cards.
Yep.
A lot of Rest in Peace, a lot of Stonies. 2 Dispel, his own Geist. He's got an Anger. I assume that's coming in. And a Braid, definitely coming in. It kills Vile plus creature if you need to. Disdainful Stroke, probably not good. I wouldn't bring it in. It hits Coco, but not good enough. Then we got a Negate. That one's probably fine if your plan is to bring in Baneslayer Angel. Just you want to try to protect it if you can. And then Celestial Purge, the Baneslayer Angel, which we are bringing in, and then a Ceremonious Rejection, which I don't think is quite good enough.
Yeah, I don't think so. So George's hope is probably to land like one of these Baneslayer Angels, the Anger of the Gods, to get a 2-for-1 at least, and just try and stall the game out until Teferi can kind of do its thing, or the Cryptics and the Snapcaster Mages, things like that. So I think he's probably fine in game 2 or 3. I hope that he can shake off that mistake that was kind of minor.
Yeah.
He was pretty far behind in the game anyways.
Yeah, he was probably unlikely to win, but like we said, you just need to shake it off. Shake it off, and Taylor. What does Taylor Swift say?
Oh, I'm done with you. Okay, another aside. Andrew Tenjum's a very huge Taylor Swift
Oh,
fan.
is he?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
That's great.
nicely done.
Yes.
Nicely done.
I'm so excited.
He will be very happy to rewatch this and hear you
I'm
say
loving
that.
it.
That's great.
I'm absolutely loving it. By the way, I noticed that Matt and I drive up a lot to these events, and we have very different tastes in music.
You and I?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
One of these days, we're gonna play my playlist on the way up,
Whatever you want, man.
or maybe we'll do it on the way back.
I just want to listen to you hack away at a keyboard for 2.5 hours every time. Every time.
Yeah, I was doing work all the way up on this trip. A lot of information needed to get into some websites.
Yeah. All right, so these guys are going to get loaded up here for game number 2. And George Balster is going to be on the play. Going to go quick down to 6.
Great comment, Chris. This be. It's like leaving that dex box face up.
Oh yeah,
Show
that's
off
just
that
that's just solid. That's just solid.
For those who
advertising.
aren't aware, every CT this year we gave away a dex protection dex box.
Yep, sure did.
To all entries.
Let's see. Bring up a quick slide for them.
And
just
right now, you
plug
can get
'em
15%
up,
off MSRP on all Dex protection products on our website at nerdragegaming.com.
They're really sweet. I carry my
Yeah,
products in this
velvet
now.
in 'em.
Yeah,
Oh.
I mean, come on. You open it up and there's a silica packet. You know it's something
And
sweet.
there's a gold looking stamp on it. It's
Yeah.
like, oh.
Yeah, basically when you open your deck box, that's the only thing you want to hear is that. Like when I opened my dredge deck on last Saturday, I was like, wow, this thing is really popping at me. It's awesome. So George going to take a quick mulligan down to 6 here. Let's see what we got. Lands and spells. That's what I like in my modern deck.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see.
Looks like an anger in the far left there. So I mean,
Yeah.
is this hand keepable just with an anger?
I mean, you're probably hoping that you have a 1 or 2 to go along with it. Because if you don't make a play on turn 1 or 2, it's usually a pretty big sign that, you got an anger, you got a verdict or something. He is on a mold of 6, so you're likely to keep kind of a weaker hand. So there is some consideration from Andrew out of that. But Andrew's a really sharp player. He'll probably be able to figure that one out.
Yeah, I think George's hand's actually pretty good. He's going to electrolyze as well to pair along with this. A couple lands, so going to lead us off with a Hallowed Fountain, my least favorite land in Modern, and Andrew's Aether Vialing again.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Come on, a braid off the top.
How do you feel about these decks cutting on things like Serum Visions? Like George is down to 2 in the main.
Yeah, I've seen this more and more, and if you're playing a control deck, a lot of times you have to have answers to various things, and not having ways to find those things worries me a bit.
Yeah, it's just tough. It definitely hurts the consistency. I actually watched George and Keenan's game. They both had like a jillion lands out combined, and I was like, well, this happens sometimes even with Serum Visions, but it happens less often, right? You don't flood as bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. Serum Vision's a pretty bad card, though, if we're going to be honest about it.
Like most people have moved to Opt.
Yeah.
In most decks.
It's it's one of the best things we have in Modern since Preordain is banned for some strange reason.
So I would say like Serum Visions is the best card turn 6 to
Wow.
draw. Like other than like if you're talking cantrips.
Yeah.
But the thing is Modern doesn't get to turn 6 very often. So like it's kind of too slow. You're either playing it on turn 1 and it's great, or you're never playing it again in the game, or you're playing it on turn 6 as well and it's like great again.
It's a good point. That is a good point. All right, so Andrew going to fetch with his Windswept Heath here.
The card I think that a lot of these control decks should be maybe looking at is Wall of Omens.
Yeah. We actually, you and I, when we did a tournament not too long ago, there was Wall of Omens. It's a Kiki style, Kiki combo deck.
Yeah.
But Wall of Omens does a lot, honestly. It even blocks like Blood Gas and things like that, which are super annoying for this deck in general to deal with.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe Wall of Omens is good again. That card's great, by the way.
I think people should be looking at it, at least trying it. People are always afraid to try new things.
That's true. All right, so Andrew, we're just like playing a land control off.
And I feel like this is great for George. Like his hand was not the strongest, and
Yeah, George is actually missing a second red source, so I think the field here is trying to open up this Anger of the Gods.
well, I also think like he has another land in hand. Typically, you'd want to wait on a canopy for this, but this also opens up to a collected company if Andrew wanted to.
If he had it, yeah.
I don't think you would, but it would be an option. How many Stoneforge Mystics do you own?
0.
Yeah. I used to own 4. They were all foil Grand Prix promos.
0.
Unfortunately, I had to sell my legacy deck, but I guess I didn't have to. I chose to.
Yeah, it's good for you. You don't play anymore, man. This is what we do. We
I
sit
know,
and
we
talk,
sit in
and people
coverage.
listen to us for
Yeah.
some strange reason. It's awesome.
Not strangers. We do good work.
Yeah, that's true.
We try.
That's true.
We really do.
I do appreciate everybody tuning in. I know we got a lot of new followers and all that jazz to stream. If it's your first time by, again, I'm Matt Pimani and Brad Brown is joining me here. We do a tournament a month. They are $5,000 tournaments next year, and all these players here either won a team tournament, or qualified at large via being a points leader at a season completion, or an at large bid based on their standings throughout the year. So it's kind of our awesome $10,000 culmination.
Yeah. So I would say there's an interesting thing that just happened in this game that I want to talk about. So Andrew waited till upkeep to use the Thalia.
Okay.
Which makes sense because George, wants to answer it on his turn, and if it plays around a bolt on George's or on Andrew's end step, and it just kind of made me think how different that play is in Legacy and in Modern.
Yep.
Like in Legacy, you would 100% play it on your turn.
Yeah, you just jam.
Almost every time.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. The timing on things based on the different formats, especially for crossing staples over like Thalia.
Yeah.
All right, Andrew pushing that either while up to 3. I really think Andrew's ahead here, honestly, man.
I tend to agree.
I know we talked about that playing the waiting game was good for George, but I just really don't think so.
Well, it was just that it wasn't necessarily good. It was just his hand wasn't very strong, and now he gets to potentially draw into some things. At the same time, Andrew is sitting here sculpting his hand, he's got a threat on the board now. He can play at a pace that he feels comfortable with in the matchup. A single blue. What are we casting?
Probably Mausoleum Wanderer if I had to guess here. Yeah. Card's good. I think if I'm George...
Andrew has decided to play Death and Taxes in Modern too. Like, this is... He's like...
Don't disrespect the Spirits deck like that.
Pay an extra mana with the Thalia, and then I'll counter it with the Wanderer. So I think he should be responding to this.
Yeah, and try and light the Thalia on fire, you think?
Yeah.
It's pretty tough, because you don't want Andrew to put another Spirit in play, whether it's like a Rattle Chains or anything off the 3 on the vial. Is he going to go for this, the Anger of the Gods here?
It'll cost him 5, right? And,
yes.
And if Andrew has a Spirit, he can counter it.
Yeah, we're in big trouble if Andrew has a Spirit.
So I'm going to go with no. I wouldn't counter it, and you're only taking 3, and you have an Electrolyze. So you could wait for upkeep, or if Andrew goes to use Vial, then in response, Electrolyze.
Yeah, I just don't think Andrew's using Vial.
I don't think he is.
Not until these creatures are swept somehow.
But he can do it on end step now.
That's fair.
He can Electrolyze on the end step.
All right, Andrew's rumbling in for 3.
I think we're just taking 3.
Let's see what George comes up to. He's pulled this Electrolyte to the front of his hand here.
He needs to cast a spell this turn, that's for sure.
Yeah.
George does.
Yeah, I don't hate waiting.
But I think waiting is better.
Yeah, I don't think...
Because if he's blowing this out with a Spirit, then you're just taking an extra point of damage.
That's true. Yes, you are. So Andrew decides to do here. I like the pace that Andrew's played this game. Both games, actually, with.
Yeah.
Pacing his threats.
That's definitely one of Andrew's strong suits, I think. He thinks through his lines.
He's just pacing his threats nicely as well, and he's saying, all right, you have to answer these before I put anything else out. Did it with the Geist of St. Draft, and now here we are with these two, the motley crew here. What's Andrew going to decide on? Is that a Rattle Chain? It's a Unified Will.
Okay.
All right.
Yep. Good catch by our table judge, Will.
Will is on top of things.
He's very, very good table judge.
Yep, so Will going to make sure that happens. So Unified Will takes care of the Electrolyze here. Andrew going to play a Horizon Canopy. I think he has a Spell Queller sitting in the front of his hand here as well. So he's got a lot of this wrapped up, honestly.
Yeah, he's got pretty good protection from just about anything that George is going to do.
Wow, that's rough.
Logic not at its best.
Yeah, he's got a Logic Knot and a Serum Visions. I think a Hieroglyphic Illumination. I can't stand that card, just for the record.
Yeah, it's a little greedy.
There's a pair of them in his deck, too.
Yeah, I mean, you can cycle it if you need to, but...
All right, so what are we doing if we're Andrew here? Just
I think we're quellering this.
Yeah, it's odd.
He can't path.
Yeah, cannot path this way because of the Thalia in play.
Right.
So, yeah, I like this. It's fine. The only way you really get punished is if George untaps next turn and Wraths. But maybe Andrew has more protection that we just can't see going on here. So
We gotta be a little. So let's do some math. Like, what if he gets double drug skill captain? Is George dead?
we're stone dead.
So that's like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Take him to 3.
Yeah, Andrew has a lot of live draws here, and honestly, he doesn't have to commit anything to the board if he doesn't feel inclined.
Well, like a path is very good now. Like a single path or bolt that can kill the queller.
Yeah. That's the concern with playing Spell Queller on like some of these Wrath type effects is it's just a ticking time bomb, honestly. So you have to Andrew has to get George dead pretty quickly here, probably in the next 2 turns.
Yep.
That's only attack for 5, so George is down to 9. Moorland Haunt, that is super annoying. There's no creatures in the bin.
Can cycle. Moves it to fairy.
How does that work?
If he has a 6th lane, oh, there's a path. If he has a 6th lane, he could play to fairy, right?
Yeah, I think he has to. I think he has to just path now, right, and hope, or does he just wait one more turn?
If you're gonna path, I think you do it on up.
Okay.
Keep?
Yeah, so George has
Yeah.
a Logic Knot. He has a Teferi, Serum Visions, and a Path to Exile. So it's gonna be interesting to see how he times his spells here. So it looks like he's gonna let Andrew untap.
Maybe you don't do it on upkeep, because then you take more. I don't know. This one's close. I'm gonna let George decide.
So he didn't cast the spell. He cycled it with it has Hieroglyphic Illumination has a cycling cost of 1.
Yeah.
1 blue. Excuse me.
All right. So George waiting till combat. I think we gotta fire this one off, George.
Yeah. I'm not interested in taking a bunch of excess damage. See what Andrew's got in response here. A good thing about a card like Anger of the Gods here is you can see Andrew has that Moorland Haunt in play.
Right.
This just turns that card off for at least a turn, right? There's no creatures in the bin for him to start
all
activating.
getting exiled is important.
Yeah.
Now, for the Anger, he'll have to pay an additional mana.
Yes, that's correct. He'll have to pay 1 with it on the stick.
Right. So then, if he needs to get
2
Wanderer to a 3.
Yes.
So a single Drogskull captain could do it.
Yep. Speak of the devil.
Yep. That. Okay. So one thing Andrew could just do is he could just. Oh right, it has hexproof.
Yep. Sure does.
Sorry, forgot about the second clause.
Yeah, Drogskull Captain is a stupid card.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I think we're just done. Here. That's 9 exactly.
Is it? Yes, it is.
Yeah, Andrew played this game really tightly.
No, it's 8, right? No, 9.
9 exactly, yeah.
3. No, it's 8.
3, 6, 8. Oh, he goes to 1.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
1. So now he needs to find
Supreme Verdict.
Yeah.
I mean, Supreme Verdict's like really the only thing. Another Aether Vial for Andrew. Pays the extra mana from Thalia.
Right, here we go.
Hieroglyphic Illumination. I don't think he has another land, though, is the problem.
Right. He has to pay 5 for a verdict, so
Yep.
I don't see an out here. Let's see. Snap Path doesn't do it.
Snapcaster Mage Path
Because you have to
Exile.
path the captain first.
Yep.
Yeah. Andrew just played a game of Death and Taxes here in
Yep,
Modern.
sure did.
And,
Vendilion Click is what that was. All right, well, Andrew Tenjum, I'm going to move to 4-0. Andrew is certainly in control of this pod.